At 24, Julian Newman's tragic fate is sadder than you think. Let's get into it. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. After this video, watch it all the way through. Go watch some other ones because it's just like this one. Let's get into it.
Wait, are you still trading for the NBA though?
You know, everybody got their path. Everybody got their, you know what I'm saying, their journey to get where they want to get to.
Just
Let it
give
go,
up,
brother.
bro. Just give it
I'm
up.
doing it.
Julian Newman,
24
if you
years.
don't know, and he's gonna show this probably. Julian Newman is a hooper. He's 24 years old. He's 2 years older than me, but he's still on his hoop dreams. He thinks he's gonna make his hoop dreams. Buddy, you're 5 years from 30. Give it up. Content wise, you could probably make money off it content wise, but going professional, buddy, every professional big league you've been put in, you have played like shit. You're done. You're done. You're donezo, bub. Donezo.
So, Julian Newman's fate has become far sadder than most people ever imagined. Think about that for a
And the
second.
only reason I go hard like that, he's a little cocky little bastard, bro. I don't give a fuck about this little
24
guy.
years old,
Little fella.
that's the age when most basketball players
Got a little
are
shit
still
turd on his head right there.
When most guys are on rookie contracts, grinding for rotation minutes, fighting for their spot on an NBA roster. That's when Luka Doncic was already a two-time All-Star. That's when Jaylen Brown was building toward a championship. At 24, Julian Newman is doing something very different. And here's the thing that makes this story hit harder than almost anything else in the history of youth basketball. This was not supposed to happen. This was not the plan. When Julian Newman was 11 years old, the entire country looked at him and made a collective decision.
I remember this. It was all over TV. Bro was a dribble head. Real life 2K demigod.
Watching a future star. The New York Times said it. ESPN said
Well,
it.
short
The biggest
demigod.
television shows in America said it. Millions of people online said it. They were all so certain. So what went wrong? How does one of the most famous young basketball players in the history of this sport end up here? That's exactly what we're about.
It's a lot to do with his height. He is a very skillful player, but at the same time, not skillful in the right ways. Like, yeah, he can sit there and dribble for 20 minutes, but he's not going nowhere. Like, it looks cool, but he's not. To real hoopers, you just don't move. He's not going nowhere. He's standing in the same spot dribbling. And that doesn't work when you get to higher levels. Like, all that dribbling, cool shit, that only works in high school. And then once you get past that, these pro level hoopers, defenders, they locking all that shit up. You're not going nowhere. Your moves need to make you go somewhere. So on top of being short, you're dribbling for no reason, chucking up 40-point deep threes. And it's just bad, bro. It's bad looks. Watch highlights, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
It's about what happens when the world builds a legend around a child before that child has had the chance to earn it. Stay with me, because this one goes deep. To understand what makes Julian Newman's story so unique, you have to understand just how early all of this started. We are not talking about a high school phenom who blew up junior year. We are not talking about a kid who went viral in middle school. Julian Newman was in the 5th grade, 11 years old, 70 pounds, 4 feet, and 5 inches tall. And he was already starting for a high school varsity basketball team. His father, Jamie Newman, had taken a job coaching basketball and teaching history at Downey Christian School in Orlando, Florida in 2012. He brought Julian along. The middle school team lasted about 5 minutes. Julian was so far beyond those kids that the coaching staff moved him up to varsity almost immediately, where he competed night after night against players who were
LaMelo Ball, I don't know if y'all seen that game. LaMelo Ball and his team destroyed Julian Newman.
Players who
It was a
had
tough
years of
watch.
physical development on him, players who outweighed him by 80 pounds. None of it mattered. Through his first 3 varsity starts, Julian averaged 12.4 points, 11 assists, and 4.3 steals per game. 11 years old, his jersey was so oversized he had to tighten the shoulders with a hair tie just to keep it on. He had to roll the waistband of his shorts so they wouldn't drag on the floor. He was still the best player out there. Jamie Newman sent a highlight reel to Max Preps. What happened next changed everything. Within days, the internet exploded. The New York Times ran a full feature. ESPN picked up the story. Sports Illustrated followed. People magazine sent a
Yeah, it was everywhere. I'm telling y'all, boy, that shit was everywhere.
Generous show. Good Morning
That shit
America.
was literally
Steve
everywhere.
Harvey show. He performed a halftime demonstration at an Orlando Magic NBA game, and the arena lost its mind. The Tampa Bay Times ran a headline calling him the most marketed 12-year-old basketball player in the world. They weren't wrong.
But like, look
And
at this,
is
look at
when
this,
the-
look at this.
when the arena lost. He put a halftime
Look at this.
show. Magazine
Ah,
said
skipping way
America
too far.
calling him the most
Like, look at these guys. This is quote unquote varsity. Like, this is quote unquote varsity. And if you don't know in sports, basketball wise, there is different levels. Like, I played, you can look it up, Hargrave Military Academy. It's one of the best high school basketball teams in the country as far as that goes. They only played people like these people wouldn't even made the team. Julian Newman wouldn't have made that team. I'm letting you know that right now, brother. I had like this dude's tall right here. There were centers and shooting guards and no centers, power forwards, and small forwards on my team that I was playing with. And keep in mind, I'm 6'2.5". You know, shoes on. I'm probably sitting around 6'3". I was playing shooting guard, buddy. The point guard was 6'2". Everybody below us was 6'8" plus. Bro, these guys, these are not varsity level. So when you play against people like this, it boosts your ego because you're playing against shitters. You play against real comp. All this, that shot right there, buddy, whoever would have been right here would have been 6'8" and would have beat that shit out of bounds. Teams we played had multiple 7-footers. They would have, all this floaters and all this shit right here would have been blocked out of bounds. There's very different levels when it comes to this basketball shit.
Genuinely impressive for a player of any age, let alone a 5th grader. But Jamie Newman also understood exactly what he was doing from a marketing standpoint. He kept those highlight videos coming. He kept the cameras rolling. He kept Julian in front of every audience that would have him. And Jamie had been building toward this moment for a long time. By the time Julian was in the 5th grade and
the whole, and you know, I paused this video a lot already. We're only 3 minutes and 53 seconds into it. But his whole family's just a bunch of hotheads, bro. That never gets you anywhere.
Spent years engineering his development. Julian's mother, Vivian, was a point guard herself who had played at University High School in Orlando before serving 4 years in the United States Navy. Basketball was in this family's bloodline on both sides. Julian began dribbling regulation-sized basketballs at 3 years old, not child-sized practice balls, regulation NBA basketballs. He was competing in recreational leagues against older kids before he reached elementary school. Because Jamie Newman understood,
like all that shit right here,
in NBA basketball.
This shit right here,
he was competing in recreational leagues against older.
You see how he just split it right there? Somebody would have put a foot over, it would have ran right into him, and would have fell down, buddy. No, these guys right here are not real hoopers. Not real hoopers. I mean, I get it. They probably did it for commercial standpoint, but like, bro. And this was the 2000s-ish, so I get it for like the fits and stuff. But come on, bro.
Before he reached
he just stepped like this dude right here, the third dude, would have beat that shit out of bounds. Look at that. Oh my God.
Because Jamie
that weak ass layup.
Understood what every great development coach eventually learns. That playing up forces adaptation in ways that playing within your age group never can. As Julian got older, the training became elite level. Reports from that period describe Julian completing 200 free throws, 200 floaters, and 200 jump shots every single day at practice. Every single day. That is a professional caliber workload placed on a child's body and a child's mind. Jamie Newman was not raising a kid who happened to be good at basketball. He was building a basketball player from the ground up, the same way you would construct any serious long-term project, with a foundation laid in the earliest possible years and built upon relentlessly from that point forward. There was nothing accidental about what Julian Newman became. Every element of his development, his environment, his exposure, and his image was intentional. And for a while, it worked exactly as designed. The world did not need much convincing. Now here's where the numbers start telling a really important story. Because Julian,
I'm gonna let it play for a minute before I pause again, chat.
He backed it up statistically for years. As a 6th grader in 2013 to 2014, he averaged 17.4 points, 9.8 assists, and 3.6 rebounds per game. As a 7th grader, he became the youngest player in recorded history to reach 1,000 career varsity points, hitting that milestone at just 13 years old. He finished that season averaging 19.8 points, 10.2 assists, and 4.3
But his competition
rebounds.
level, bro.
Grader,
He's playing shitters.
23.9 points, 11.4 assists, 3.6
He's playing
rebounds.
shitters.
Year after year, the numbers went up. The viral clips kept multiplying. In 2016, Julian faced off against Kyrie Walker at the MSHTV camp, one of the most high-profile youth basketball showcases in the country. Walker was a top-ranked recruit with offers from Kansas, Arkansas.
Oh, don't get me started on Walker, bro. Walker is a bigger letdown than Julian Newman, bro. Fuck is that guy
single
doing?
highlight reel from their matchup generated over 13 million views on YouTube. 13 million views on a high school basketball game. By his sophomore year, Julian had broken the Florida all-time prep scoring record that had stood since Teddy Dupay set it in 1998, accumulating 3,873 career varsity
Which
points.
is a lot of
He starred
points.
in
That is a lot of
documentary
points.
called
Don't get it
Born
wrong.
Ready in 2015 that followed his daily life and training and drew massive viewership from fans who had become genuinely invested in where his career was heading. In his senior season at Prodigy Prep, a school his father personally founded and built specifically around developing elite basketball talent, Julian averaged 34.7 points, 7 assists.
And don't get it
5
wrong, Buddy was chucking shots. I mean, I've watched a few film games, Buddy. This motherfucker shoots
rebounds and 4
shots,
steals per
boy.
game,
He throws them up. He gets them
34.7
up.
points a night. So the debate online was real and it was loud. Was Julian Newman
But
going
this
to
is
the
what happens
NBA?
when you
Was
go,
he the
you play
next
against real
Isaiah Thomas?
competition right
Were
here,
the
bro.
scouts sleeping
This
on
game
something that
proves it.
everyone
Exactly
watching
what I
those
was saying.
highlights already understood?
These dudes are all
But here's
6'7"
where things
plus.
start to turn, and this is the part that most people missed while they were watching the mixtapes. The conversations happening in basketball circles. Conversations that told a completely different story from what was playing out on social media. The first issue was competition. Downey Christian School and later
Yeah,
Prodigy
I mean, he's
Prep
playing
competed
bots.
outside the jurisdiction of the Florida High School Athletic Association. That matters enormously. Those programs were not playing against the fully sanctioned elite competition that college coaches relied on when evaluating
To see,
prospects.
yeah.
When Julian appeared at
You can't play against
high-profile
bots and
showcases
score
where the
40
opposition had legitimate
and be
powerful
proud of it. You gotta
offers
play against good
and
people.
scouts sitting courtside, the gap between the legend and the reality started showing up in ways that couldn't be explained away. The skill was still evident. Nobody was questioning the handle. Nobody doubted the court vision.
Yeah, he can
But next
dribble.
to players who were 6'2", 6'3", with 40-inch verticals and sub-5-second agility numbers, it was a fundamentally different conversation. Which brings us to the second issue. The one everybody was thinking, but nobody wanted to be
It's
the
the
first to
height,
say
bro.
out loud. His height. Julian Newman maxed out at 5 feet 5 inches tall. In a league where point guards, the smallest players on the NBA floor, typically stand 6'1" or 6'2", 5'5" is a number that makes professional evaluators go very quiet very fast. The comparisons to Isaiah Thomas circulated constantly.
Isaiah,
online,
no,
but
don't compare him to my GOAT. Isaiah Thomas is a dog.
Thomas stood 5'9". That is still considered remarkably short for
Isaiah
an
Thomas
NBA,
is a
and
dog.
Isaiah himself acknowledged that his path to the league was among the hardest any player had navigated in decades. Julian Newman was 4 inches shorter than that. The scouts who evaluated him publicly were consistent. The skill was legitimate. The ceiling at the professional level, given the physical disadvantages he would face on every single possession against every single opponent, was not. Basketball at the Division I level and beyond is a sport where every physical inch matters.
Every time he
Where
played a good
6'2"
team, it
guard
showed.
defending a 5'5" guard can simply put his hand up and erase shots, where a slight size advantage at the point of attack compounds across.
It's not
40
slight
minutes
anymore.
until
If you're
it counts.
5'5" compared to somebody 6'2", 6'3", that's not a slight height difference. Like, that's not slight at all.
Julian could read a defense as well as anyone his age, but reading a defense means nothing when the defender is long enough to contest everything you see. Scouts also pointed to the competition level question that critics have been raising for years. The
Bless me in the
scoring
chat,
records,
boys.
viral
Bless me in the
mixtapes,
chat.
34-point averages. Those numbers have been built against opponents who were not the caliber of player or college coach was
They're
recruited
shitters.
to compete in the
Like, you're
power
playing
conference.
against trash
When those
cans.
same basketball instincts got tested in environments with elite opposition and neutral evaluation, the picture became more complicated. And as the competition around him got stronger, faster, and more physically developed through his high school years, the style of play that had made him a legend began running into walls it could not break through.
They're the same height as him.
When Julian graduated from Prodigy Prep in 2020, the basketball world waited for a Division I announcement. Jamie Newman went on record claiming his son had received 15
Okay.
scholarship offers.
Yeah, this guy right here is probably the ruin of his all career, bro. This guy probably pipes his fucking head
Programs
through the
like
roof.
Kansas and Florida
Just
by now.
lying.
The major recruiting services had no record of those offers. No official scholarship announcements came through any program's verified channels. Not one. The same player who had his face on the front page of the Sunday New York Times as an 11-year-old could not get a confirmed Division I offer at 18. Viral fame meant absolutely nothing to a college coach trying to build a tournament roster. The only thing that mattered was whether this
It's
player
not
could
even that. Like, obviously, the height has a lot to play into it, bro. I told you, like I said earlier, brother, their whole family and him are just crash outs, bro. Crash outs. And I can't wait till the day somebody bigger bops that ass across his head because he's 5'5",
compete
gang.
against 6'2" guards with pro athleticism. And the honest answer, based on everything the scouting community said publicly, was that he could not. Julian then announced he would skip college and pursue.
He gotta let the
basketball
little shit turd on
overseas.
top of his head
Germany,
go, though.
China, Italy,
I
Australia,
mean, what is this?
G League.
Brother, this ain't even straight. I mean, you got this is your head peak right here. The bun's all the way over here, dude. What are we doing? What are we doing?
He laid out the options publicly and told his followers to stay tuned. Nothing materialized. No overseas contract, no professional deal, no announcement. Silence. And then something that nobody who grew up watching those YouTube highlights would have predicted happened. Julian Newman stopped playing organized basketball, not for a month, not for a semester, for 4 years, from 2020 to 2024. One of the most famous basketball players in internet history did not compete in a single organized game. 4 years, let that land. This is a person who had been
4
competing
years
since
he didn't
3
play?
years
I
old,
didn't know it
who
was
had
that
played
long.
varsity basketball since the 5th grade, whose entire identity, as constructed by his family and amplified by a global audience, was inseparable from the game of basketball. And after graduating high school,
They cut
the
this out
global
right here?
audience was
They cut this
inseparable
out?
from the game of
He wants to go
basketball.
take this layup. Either LaMelo, I think LaMelo did, but either one of these two guys beat the shit off that
And
against
after
the glass.
graduating high school with no Division I offer, no professional contract, and no verifiable overseas opportunity, despite what his father had promised publicly, Julian simply went quiet from organized competition. He stayed visible through social media, training footage, lifestyle content, occasional skill videos that reminded his followers he still had the handle, still had the vision, still had the same fearlessness that had made him famous a decade earlier. His name still got clicks because the nostalgia around his story was powerful. YouTube documentaries kept revisiting him. Podcasts kept asking what happened. Sports journalists and content creators kept checking back in, hoping for an update that would resolve the open question his career had become. But competitive
It's like, what do people
basketball?
expect,
Gone.
bro? He's
The kid that had
5'5",
defined
dude.
him since before he was old enough to go to school.
He's
had
5'5".
disappeared from
Content
his life
creator
at the
wise, he'd
exact
be
moment
good.
most players
But
his age
this-
were first getting serious about the professional pathway. It raised a question.
just gotta be
that
honest with
nobody
ourselves
around
sometimes.
Julian answered publicly. Was this a strategic pause, training privately, waiting for the right overseas opportunity, preparing for a real run at professional ball? Or had the reality of where his career stood finally caught up with the narrative that had been built around him for a decade? The truth, as it almost always does, probably lives somewhere in between those two answers. And then in June 2024, Julian Newman made an announcement that surprised a lot of people. He committed to Bethesda University, not Division I, not Division II, not even a traditional NAIA program. Bethesda University is a small Christian institution in Anaheim, California, competing in the National Christian College Athletic Association. By any objective measure, it is the furthest point from the NBA that a career can land,
Yeah,
while
that's
still
rough.
technically calling itself college basketball. Julian enrolled that fall at 23 years old, making him one of the oldest freshmen in his program. His collegiate debut came on October 24th, 2024, against the Masters University. He came off the bench. He played 9 minutes. He went scoreless, going 0 for 6 from three-point range. His team lost by 86 points.
Oh my
Sit with
God.
that number, 86 points. That was not a one-time result. Through the 2024 to 2025 season, Julian averaged 1.9 points per
Oh
game on
my
16.3% shooting. His career high at
Damn.
Bethesda University was 6 points, set in a game on November 13th, 2024. A game his team lost 107 to 54, a 53-point blowout on the road. The player who averaged 34 points a night during his high school senior season was scoring less than 2 points a game at an NAIA Christian college in Anaheim, California. The internet did not handle this quietly. The same social media ecosystem
They done him
that had
dirty.
spent 12 years building
Yeah, that's what
Julian
happens
Newman
with
into a
social media,
legend
bro.
was now cataloging his Bethesda box scores in real time. Reaction videos went up within hours of every game. Twitter threads dissected his shooting splits. YouTube channels built entire videos around his stat line. Comment sections that had once debated whether
They
he
were
was
waiting
going
to see
be
what
an
he's gonna do
all-star are
next.
now making
That's
very
what
different
happened.
arguments. And that is the part
He
of
should have
the
left the
story
hooping
that carries
behind him,
a
bro.
weight
He made the
beyond
money off of it.
basketball
Dip.
numbers. Most players who develop at a slower pace than expected get to do so privately. They fail in gyms that don't have cameras. They get cut from rosters that nobody is tracking. They work through their development struggles away from any kind of audience. Julian Newman has never had that, not once in his life. The 5th grader who had People magazine photographers at his games grew into the 23-year-old whose NIA box scores were being screenshotted and posted to social media within hours. The price of that level of early fame is that the audience never fully goes away. And when the performance stops matching the legend, the audience gets to watch that in real time too. By mid-2025, Julian stepped away from basketball and began training for boxing at Fortune Gym in Los Angeles. The logic made sense in its own way. His hand speed from years of elite ball handling gave him a natural foundation that most boxers grind for years to develop from scratch. His reflexes, his footwork, his competitive psychology forged to a lifetime of being the smallest person in every competition he ever entered. Those transferred. His social media presence gave him genuine promotional value in the celebrity boxing space that had grown into a legitimate industry through the success of figures like Jake Paul and others who had turned internet fame into
Weird. Jake Paul, weird as hell, boy. Jake, I mean, boxing don't
cutoff. Weight classes make height
don't make a whole lot of
relevant,
sense.
but they do not disqualify you the way a league of 6'4" athletes does. Julian Newman, who has spent his entire life being told that his size was the thing standing between him and greatness, found himself in a sport where that specific argument doesn't apply the same way. Whether boxing becomes a genuine chapter in his story or another destination that doesn't quite land the way he hopes is still playing out. But what the pivot tells you about him is something his Bethesda stat line never could. He has not quit. He has not walked away from competition. He has not accepted a quiet exit. At 24, he is still grinding.
He's been wilding. I've been seeing clips of him wilding.
Changed shape.
And all this shit just happened on Twitter.
Now here's
The
big
hell,
question,
buddy?
the one that Julian Newman's story.
I wouldn't be on
forces
the
you to
internet
sit
all
with
that happened to
whether
me.
you want to or not. Was any of this inevitable? When you pull back and look at the full arc of what happened here, a pattern emerges that goes far beyond Julian specifically. Jamie Newman recognized extraordinary talent in the child and made a deliberate decision to market that talent as aggressively as possible, as early as possible. He put his son on national television before Julian was old enough to understand what national television meant. He built a school around his son's basketball ambitions.
He put too much
created
pressure
an
on him, man.
entire
Everybody ain't
environment
LeBron
where
James, bro.
Julian was not
LeBron
a
is
kid
the
who
only
played
LeBron ever.
basketball, he was
Put so much pressure on a
brand,
kid,
a
man.
headline, a destiny. And the qualities that made those early clips so compelling, the fearlessness competing against players twice his age, the handle, the swagger, those qualities were cultivated inside an ecosystem specifically engineered to produce them on camera. In that ecosystem, they looked extraordinary, but the ecosystem was not the NBA. It was not the Big 12. It was not even close to the level of competition those worlds required. And by the time Julian was old enough to be tested against the real standard,
I wonder if his
the
dad
distance
knew
between
this.
the legend
I
and
wonder
the
if his dad
reality
ever
had
thought
grown
about
too
this.
wide to close. Forbes ran a piece back in 2014 questioning whether the media was wrong to be hyping a 12-year-old the way it was hyping Julian Newman. The argument was straightforward. Taking a child's athletic performance seriously enough to declare a professional destiny before adolescence creates expectations that the child will have to carry for the rest of their career, fair or not. At the time, most people dismissed that argument because the highlights were too good to resist. A decade later, that piece reads differently. Compare that arc to Kyrie Walker, the same player Julian went viral against in 2016. Walker built a conventional development path, earned legitimate Power 5 scholarship offers, competed at elite sanction levels throughout high school, and built a real professional trajectory from there. The difference between those two careers was not purely physical tools, it was development philosophy. The goal in Walker's career was to maximize his ceiling as a basketball competitor. The goal in Julian's story, at least as it appears from the outside, increasingly shifted over time toward maximizing his visibility as a basketball personality. Those
crashing
two goals
out.
are not the same thing.
He's always
And when
crashing. They didn't show him
diverge
crashing
early
out
enough
before
and
that clip.
hard enough,
He got what he
the
deserved.
consequences follow a player for the rest of their career. Julian's sister Jaden followed a similar viral trajectory and eventually signed with a Division I college program. Same family, same environment, different outcome. Which tells you this story does not reduce neatly to any single explanation. It is not simply the height. It is not simply the marketing. It is not simply the school choices or the scheduling or the competition level. It is all of those things layered on top of each other over years, compounding quietly until the gap becomes impossible to ignore. What keeps Julian Newman's name generating content years after his original moment of fame is something real. People who watch those highlights as kids carry a genuine emotional stake in his story. He represented something for a lot of them, The undersized kid who refused to be told he couldn't compete. The 5th grader tightening his jersey with a hair tie who was still the best player on the floor. He made kids who were too small and too slow and too young believe that those things didn't have to define
Yeah,
you.
I mean, for sure.
That is not a small thing. It is actually a significant thing, and it explains why his name never fully disappears from sports media. The curiosity around what happened to him is driven partly by nostalgia and partly by something more complicated. A feeling among the people who rooted for him that the story owes them a better ending than the one they got. But here is something worth considering. Julian Newman's impact on youth basketball and sports media culture is genuinely undeniable, regardless of what happened to his professional career. He was the first. Before there was a cottage industry of youth basketball social media content, before AAU highlight compilations,
Yeah,
were
you had
standard
Julian
part of
Newman
recruiting
chucking
culture,
40
before
foot
fathers
threes
everywhere
and
learned that a
throwing
well-produced
turnovers to a
highlight
Melo
reel
Ball's
could change
face.
a kid's visibility overnight. Julian Newman was the proof of concept. He and his father figured out something that the entire industry eventually followed. The blueprint for marketing a youth basketball player through the internet was written in a gym at Downey Christian School in Orlando, Florida in 2012. Every kid who built a social media following before they graduated high school owes something to what Julian Newman proved was possible. Even if nobody intended to build a blueprint, even if the career that followed didn't match the promise of the original moment, the impact was real and it lasted. The truth about Julian Newman's career.
I mean, I get what he's saying, like, kind of way, like, you know, Julian Newman's dad and everything was posting clips, constantly posting new footage, all this, in a time where a lot of people weren't doing that. And, like, today you see highlight clips of people you never even heard of before. There's thousands of them. But the problem in why this was so successful during this time, because it wasn't, you know, a thing. You see sometimes these highlight reels with only like 100 viewers. But, you know, you're competing at a time where you got people who are 7 foot, 6'11" in 6th grade doing 360 windmills. So, I mean, you didn't have that back in the day. I mean, you did, but not as broadcast as it is now.
The gap between those two things became the defining narrative of his life in a very.
But I agree with what bro's saying. I mean, at the end of the day, Julian Newman did a lot for the basketball community. But at the same time, bro's a crash out. I can't respect some of the things he said and the way he crashes out. I think it's a bit childish. But at the end of the day, you know, I think his height, him being a crash out, and a lot of other things played into factor. But let me know how y'all feel down below. It's been your boy Nick. Like I said, until the next video. And actually, after this video, you should go click and watch another video. Because if you like this video, you will like that one too. But it's been your boy Nick. And I'm out, man. Peace.